Look, I need to tell you something that's probably going to sting a little bit. Last month, you made a car payment. Maybe it was $550. Maybe it was $700. Maybe it was even more. And you know what? You barely even thought about it. It just came out of your account like it always does, like it's supposed to. But here's what I want you to imagine for a second. What if I told you that payment you just made, the one you didn't even think twice about, just cost you $50,000? Not today, not this month, but over the course of your life, that single payment multiplied by every payment you'll ever make is going to cost you more money than most people make in an entire year. And the worst part, you don't even own the thing you're paying for. Think about that. Every month, you're sending hundreds of dollars to a bank. And in 6 years, when you're finally done paying, that car is worth half of what you paid for it, maybe less. And then what do? You trade it in and start all over again. Another 6 years, another payment, another $40,000 gone. You're on a treadmill and you don't even realize you're running. I know this because I see it everywhere. I see it in my friends who make great money but are always stressed about bills. I see it in family members who work their entire lives and have nothing to show for it. I see it in the comments on my videos. Rehan, I make $70,000 a year. Why am I still broke? And every single time when we dig into the numbers, there it is, the car payment, sitting there like a vampire, quietly draining the life out of their finances month after month, year after year. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. That car in your driveway, the one you're so proud of, the one with the leather seats and the touchscreen and the backup camera, it's not yours. It belongs to the bank. And every month you're paying rent on it. Except it's worse than rent because at least when you rent an apartment, it doesn't lose half its value while you're living in it. Your car payment isn't just a bill, it's a landlord, and it's the worst landlord you've ever had. My name is Rehan, and I spend way too much time thinking about why we make terrible decisions with cars. If you're someone who feels like you're doing everything right, you've got a job, you're making decent money, you're being responsible, but somehow you never seem to get ahead and there's always more month than there is money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because what I'm about to show you is going to completely change the way you think about the biggest financial mistake you're probably making right now. And trust me, once you see these numbers, you can't unsee them. So let's start with the numbers, because the numbers are absolutely wild. According to Experian's Q2 2024 Automotive Finance Report, the average monthly payment for a new car in America is $734. For used cars, it's $525. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Rehan, that's not that bad. I can handle $500 to $700 a month. No, stop. That's exactly the trap. Because here's what most people don't realize. That payment isn't just a payment. It's a financial prison that's quietly destroying your ability to build wealth. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say you're 25 years old and you decide to always have a car payment. Just a modest one, $500 a month. That seems reasonable, right? You graduate college, you get a job, you need a car, so you finance something decent. $500 a month. Then in 5 years, you trade it in, roll over whatever negative equity you have, and boom, another $500 car payment. Maybe $550 now because, inflation, and you want something a bit nicer. You do this for 40 years until you're 65. If instead of making that $500 monthly payment to a bank or dealership, you invested that money in a basic S&P 500 index fund, earning a conservative 10% annual return, which is actually below the historical average, you know what you'd have? $3,158,146. $3 million. That's not a typo. That's the opportunity cost of always having a car payment. The car you're driving right now, it's not just costing you $500 a month. It's potentially costing you millions in wealth you'll never build. Now, here's where it gets really interesting from a psychological perspective. We've normalized car payments to an absolutely insane degree. Like, somewhere along the way, we just accepted that you're supposed to have a car payment. It's just part of being an adult, right? Rent, utilities, car payment. It's just what you do. But think about that for a second. We've normalized making payments on a depreciating asset, an asset that loses value the second you drive it off the lot. According to Carfax, a new car loses about 20% of its value in the first year. Some luxury brands, they lose 30 to 40% in year one alone. Imagine if I came to you and said, hey, I've got this great investment opportunity. You give me $40,000 and in 1 year, I'll give you back $32,000. Sounds good? You'd think I was absolutely out of my mind. And yet, that's essentially what millions of people do every single year when they buy new cars. But here's the thing. The car companies and the banks know exactly what they're doing. They've figured out the psychological hack. They've shifted the conversation from can you afford this car to can you afford this payment. That's the genius of it, because most people can't afford a $45,000 car, but $700 a month, yeah, that fits in the budget. Barely, but it fits. Look, let me show you the actual math behind a typical car purchase, because this is where people's eyes usually glaze over at the dealership, and that's exactly when they get you. Let's say you're buying a $40,000 SUV. You put down $3,000, which honestly, most people don't even do that, but we'll be generous. So you're financing $37,000. The dealer gets you approved at 7% interest for 72 months. That's 6 years. Your payment? $646. Over the life of that loan, you're going to pay $46,512. That's $9,512 in interest alone. You're paying almost $10,000 just for the privilege of not paying cash. But wait, it gets worse. Because remember, this car is depreciating. After 6 years, according to Kelley Blue Book data, that $40,000 SUV is worth maybe $18,000 if you took decent care of it. Some vehicles fare even worse. So let's do the actual accounting here. Total paid, $46,512. Value after 6 years, $18,000. Your actual cost, $28,512. You've essentially paid $28,512 to use a car for 6 years. That's $396 in real cost plus the $646 you were paying. When you actually do the math, that car cost you over $1,000 in value destruction and payments. Now, you might be thinking, well, Rehan, I need a car. I just can't not have transportation. And you're right, but here's what you're missing. There's a completely different way to approach this that almost nobody talks about because there's no profit in it for the banks or dealerships. What if instead of financing a $40,000 SUV, you bought an $8,000 used car in cash? And I'm not talking about some clunker that's going to break down every week. I'm talking about a 2015 to 2017 Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla, or Mazda 3 with 60 to 80,000 miles on it. These cars are absurdly reliable and will easily run another 100,000 miles with basic maintenance. But Rehan, I don't have $8,000. Okay, fine, then save for it. Here's how. Remember that $646 car payment we talked about? For the next year, make that payment to yourself. Live with whatever you have now for one more year. Borrow a family member's car, take the bus, bike, carpool, whatever you have to do. In 12 months, you'll have $7,752 saved up. Buy the used car in cash. Now, here's where the magic happens. You keep making that $646 payment to yourself. Except now it's going into a high-yield savings account or money market fund. In 3 years, you've got $23,256 saved up. Your 2016 Civic is now worth maybe $5,000 to $6,000. You sell it, add that to your savings, and now you have $28,000 to $29,000 in cash. You can now buy a nearly new car with cash. No payment, no interest, nothing. And if you keep making that payment to yourself, in another 3 years, you've got another $23,256 saved up, plus whatever your current car is worth, and you can upgrade again if you want. Or, and this is actually what I recommend, you keep the reliable car you have and redirect that money into real investments.
This is where it gets really interesting, and this is the part that honestly makes me frustrated because I see so many people trapped in this cycle. According to the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, the median net worth of American families in 2022 was $192,900. But here's the thing, that number is heavily skewed by housing equity and retirement accounts that people can't touch without penalties. When you look at liquid wealth, money that people can actually access, the numbers are terrifying. A 2023 report from Bankrate found that only 44% of Americans could cover a $1,000 emergency expense from savings. More than half of Americans are literally one unexpected expense away from going into debt. And yet, the average American has a car payment of $500 to $700 per month. Do you see the problem here? We've collectively decided that having a nice car in the driveway is more important than having financial security. We're choosing depreciation over accumulation. We're choosing to impress people we don't even like with cars we can't really afford, while simultaneously complaining that we can't save money. The math doesn't lie. If you're making $60,000 a year, which is roughly the median household income in America, and you're spending $700 a month on a car payment, that's $8,400 a year. That's 14% of your gross income. After taxes, you're probably taking home maybe $45,000. So that car payment is consuming 18.6% of your actual take-home pay. Now add in insurance, let's say $150 a month for full coverage, because you have to have it when you're financing. That's another $1,800 a year. Gas, even if you're conservative, that's $200 a month or $2,400 a year. Maintenance, budget at least $1,000 a year. Your total car cost is $13,600 per year. That's 30% of your take-home income, 30%. This is why I say your car payment is your real landlord. Because think about what a landlord does. They take a huge chunk of your income every single month, and in return, you get to use something that you'll never actually own. The money just disappears. It's gone. You can't get it back. You're not building equity, you're just paying for temporary access. That's exactly what a car payment is. Except it's actually worse than a landlord, because at least with rent, the property you're living in isn't actively losing value. Your apartment is probably worth roughly the same in 6 years as it is today. Your car, it's worth half, maybe less. And just like how financial advisors tell you to buy a house instead of renting forever because you're throwing money away, the same logic applies to cars, except the math is even more compelling with cars because they're so much cheaper than houses. You can actually save up and buy a decent car in cash within a year or two. Try doing that with a house. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. Rayhan, I get the math, but I don't want to drive a 10-year-old car. I want something nice. I work hard. Don't I deserve to have something I enjoy? Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you should live like a monk and never enjoy anything, but let's talk about what deserve actually means in this context. You know what you deserve? You deserve to not be stressed about money. You deserve to not wake up in the middle of the night worried about how you're going to pay your bills if you lose your job. You deserve to have options in life. You deserve to not be a slave to a payment for 6, 7, 8 years of your life. And here's the thing about nice cars. Literally, nobody cares as much as you think they do. You know who's impressed by your new BMW? Nobody. Or more accurately, the only people who are impressed are people who are also drowning in car payments and secretly jealous that yours is nicer than theirs. That's not admiration, that's just mutual financial dysfunction. According to a study published in the Journal of Consumer Research, people who buy luxury goods to impress others are actually perceived less favorably than those who don't. Think about that. You're going into debt to make an impression that actually backfires. The people you actually want to impress, successful, wealthy people, they're not driving $80,000 cars on payments. Survey after survey shows that actual millionaires drive much more modest cars than you'd expect. According to research by Thomas Stanley and William Danko in The Millionaire Next Door, the most popular vehicle among millionaires is a Ford F-150, not a Mercedes S-Class. Let's bring this back to opportunity cost, because I think this is where the decision becomes crystal clear. Scenario A, you always have a car payment. You spend $600 a month on average from age 25 to 65. Total payments over 40 years, $288,000. Scenario B, you buy used cars in cash. You spend an average of $8,000 every 5 years on cars. Over 40 years, that's 8 cars, so $64,000 total. You invest the $600 a month you would have spent on payments. The difference? In scenario A, you've paid $288,000 and have nothing. Your last car at age 65 is probably worth $15,000 at best. In scenario B, you've spent $64,000 on cars and you have $3,158,146 in your investment account. Even if we're super conservative and say you need to spend more on maintenance for used cars, let's add another $100,000 over 40 years for repairs and extra maintenance. You still come out $2.9 million ahead. This isn't even a close call. This is one of the most dramatic differences in financial outcomes you can create with a single decision. Now, here's where I need to address the elephant in the room. Some of you are sitting there thinking, okay, Reham, you've convinced me, but I'm already in the trap. I have a $650 car payment right now with 4 years left. What am I supposed to do? This is the hard part, but here's the reality. You need to get out of it as fast as humanly possible, even if it hurts. Option 1, if you're not underwater on the loan, sell the car. Yes, even if you have to downgrade significantly, sell it, buy a $5,000 car in cash, and redirect that $650 into rebuilding your emergency fund and then investments. Option 2, if you're underwater, meaning you owe more than the car is worth, you've got to get aggressive about paying it off. Every extra dollar you can find goes to that car payment. Cancel subscriptions, cut back on eating out, pick up extra shifts, do whatever it takes to pay it off early. The interest you're paying is killing you. Option 3, if the payment is absolutely crushing you and you can't see a way out, you might need to consider a voluntary repossession or selling to a service like Carvana or CarMax, even if you have to take a loss and get a personal loan for the difference. Yes, it'll hurt your credit, but you know what hurts worse? Being broke for the next 6 years. All right, so let's talk about what you actually do, step by step. Step 1, calculate your true car cost. Add up your payment, insurance, gas, and maintenance. Multiply by 12. Is that number more than 15% of your take-home pay? If yes, you need to make changes. Step 2, if you currently have a car payment, create a plan to eliminate it. Set a date, mark it on your calendar. This is your financial independence day for this one area of your life. Step 3, start saving for your next car now. Even if it's just $100 a month, open a separate savings account called Next Car Fund and set up automatic transfers. When it's time to replace your current vehicle, you'll have cash. Step 4, change your mindset about cars. They are not investments. They are not status symbols. They are appliances. They get you from point A to point B. That's it. A 2016 Honda Civic gets you there just as effectively as a 2024 BMW. But one of them costs you $300,000 over your lifetime, and the other one might make you a millionaire. Step 5, when you do buy your next car, buy used, buy in cash, and buy something with a reputation for reliability. Honda, Toyota, Mazda, these brands exist in the sweet spot of reliable and affordable. A 5 to 7-year-old model with 60 to 80,000 miles is the perfect target. Look, here's what this is really about. This isn't actually about cars. Cars are just the most visible, most common example of a much bigger problem. We've been sold a bill of goods about what success looks like. We think success is a nice car in the driveway, a big house, designer clothes, the latest iPhone, and we're willing to go into debt to get these things because we've been told that's just how it works. That's normal. That's the American dream. But that's not the American dream. That's the American trap. The real American dream, the one that actually leads to financial freedom and peace of mind, is about building wealth, not displaying it. It's about having money in the bank, not a nice car in the driveway. It's about options and freedom, not payments and stress. And the beautiful thing is, once you crack the code with this with cars, you start to see it everywhere. You start questioning all the other normal financial decisions that are keeping you broke. The credit card debt, the furniture financing, the lifestyle creeps in every time you get a raise. I want to leave you with one final thought. Right now, today, you have a choice. You can keep doing what you're doing, making car payments, impressing nobody, and staying broke, or you can make a different choice. You can decide that you're done being a slave to payments. You're done prioritizing depreciation over accumulation. You're done letting a car company or bank be your landlord.
It's not going to be easy. Your friends might not get it. Your family might question you. When you roll up to the office Christmas party in a 2015 Accord instead of a 2025 Audi, people might wonder what happened. Let them wonder. While they're wondering, you're building wealth. Because here's what I know. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, when your friends are still making car payments and stressed about money, you're going to be sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars in investments. And that 2015 Accord that people made fun of, it'll still be running just fine, and it'll have made you rich. The question is, are you willing to be different? Are you willing to look broke to get rich? Or are you going to keep looking rich while staying broke? Your car payment is your real landlord, and it's time to evict it. If this video changed how you think about car payments, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on taking control of your financial life. And drop a comment below. Tell me what you're currently paying for your car and what you're going to do about it. Let's hold each other accountable. I'll see you in the next one.